Things you own end up owning you.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the podcast. Hope everyone is enjoying their holidays. My guest today is Jason Dolby. Jason is a personal trainer, a coach, and a head instructor for the Orange Kettlebell Club. He's had over 20 years of experience in the fitness world, and he's one of the OGs of the kettlebell sport community in the US. I asked him about how he got involved into kettlebells, how his first kettlebell session went, and why it sparked his interest. We talk about his travels to the far east of Russia and his quest to learn more, and he tells many funny stories. He made me cry from laughing so hard on this one, so I had a great time talking to Jason. I hope you enjoyed this one as much as I did. So listen, I wanted to talk to you about, first I wanted to bring up like how we met, you know?
Yeah,
So you know,
Yep.
being from Russia, like everybody thinks that like you're, contrary to the popular belief, you're not really born with like a kettlebell in your fucking fist. Like you're not coming out of the womb
Yeah.
with a fist and like a vodka bottle in the other hand.
Yeah, exactly.
But the word gita, which translates to kettlebell, is very
Mhm.
well known. You know, it's not like a huge sport. Like
Yeah.
I think a lot of Americans maybe think that like just everybody's lifting kettlebells all the time, and it's not quite the case, but definitely it's like a known sport. So when I moved to the States, I knew what a kettlebell was, but I never like trained kettlebells. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah.
And then I discovered this chap called Pavel Tsatsulin, which a lot of guys know, right? He was like the kind of the OG, here in the States.
Mad credit.
Right. Hard style.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, and then from there, I slowly found out about Steve Cotter and Ken Blackburn and those guys,
Sure.
AKFF,
Mhm.
also some of the OGs.
Mhm.
And then over years, I found out about OKC, Orange Kettlebell Club. And so, and all in and all in the meantime, I was training and, and lifting kettlebells and just learning and, getting into that world. And then I heard, and living in Southern California, I heard, oh, hey, Orange Kettlebell Club is coming down to Southern
Costa
California.
Mesa?
Costa Mesa, that's right.
Yeah.
That was it. Costa Mesa to teach a workshop with world champion Denis Vasiliev.
Mhm.
And I was like, sign me up, baby. Take my money, And so I came down there, and that's how I met you guys. I met you, I met John, I met Dennis, and, the rest is history kind of, but kind of became
Yeah.
a thing. But
No,
so
it's
that's
just,
kind of my way how I got into that. But I wanted to hear, like, do you remember, like, what the first time was that you heard about, like, the kettle or, like, kettlebell training? Like, did you have, like, a moment, or how did it go?
100%.
Mm-hmm.
I had several moments. First was my first month. This was all early 2006 for me. All right. So my good buddy Chris Hoffman, right, who I still consider kind of one of my mentors as far as like fitness training goes.
Mm-hmm.
So my buddy Chris we were training at the same Spectrum Athletic Club in Manhattan Beach. Well, technically it's El Segundo, but they wanted to use the bougie name, say Manhattan Beach, whatever. But I worked there for 10 years, and I think Chris was there for maybe like 4 or 5 years. He came in, and little guy in stature, but jacked. And the guy's like, I think actually he's 60 years old right now. But when maybe it was, I don't know, 15 years ago when I met him, I'm telling you, this dude walks around at like 5% body fat. He was a pro soccer player back in Germany. And then he blew his ACL out, really bad injury playing soccer or football, for Europe. Yeah. And then he got into some powerlifting and just found that he was doing pretty well, kind of got into the bodybuilding scene and just liked to train. And then it just became really natural for him. And genetically, he's kind of a freak. But I love it because he's got just a sliver of Arnold's accent. And, oh, man, like, I loved it. He came into our club and, like, first day there, I go, dude, I was like, this is already unfair already. I go, the way that you sound, I go, your accent, you're going to sell so many packages of sessions just with that voice. And then, 5% body fat. So he ended up leaving, kind of, parting ways with the club, going out on his own to be more entrepreneurial, and which we all sort of do after a certain period of time.
Right.
And so Chris, he hits me up one day and he goes, Dolby man, Dolby man. That's what he calls me, Dolby man, right? Dolby man, you got to see these Russian kettlebells. Do it now. You got to see it. And I was like, what? And he goes, they are so strong. They are crazy. And I'm like, what are you saying? I was like, cowbell? What are you talking? And I did that thing that all Americans do the very first time they hear it. They're like, what? That thing, cowbell? That thing that goes around the neck? He's like, no. He's like, brother, you got to come over. You got to come over.
Or kettlebell, right? Or kettlebell.
Yeah.
It's like the first two.
I never said that because of the cowbell thing was in my head. But he's like, no, man. He's like, no, I got this DVD. Enter the kettlebell, right?
Oh, okay,
Which,
okay.
Again, credit to Pavel,
Okay.
who sort of reignited the interest of kettlebell lifting in America, from my understanding, because the interest in messing around with kettlebells was kind of over in like 1920s, 1930s, I believe, because the not antiquated, but the old school strongman stuff. They do a lot of crazy bench presses and one-arm things with very heavy kettlebells and so on.
Right.
But for the most part in gymnasiums, they just kind of sat around the same way Indian clubs did, right?
Yeah.
So old school, like gymnasiums, they were there, this and that. Pavel comes in, I don't know, 2002-ish, 2003, I'm not quite sure.
Somewhere around there. Yeah, that's what I can
Jeff Martone would be probably the best guy or Steve Maxwell, to actually chat with about the first time that Pavel kind of dropped that information. But anyway, super cool. So Chris is like, yo, I got this DVD. I'm doing these things with the Russian kettlebell, man. This stuff is no joke. And I was like, whatever. I'm like, what? So, and mind you, all the way up until this time, I was gym strong, right? So like I was good with, okay, cool. Seated barbell military press. Bench press, bent over row with that pad that, passively stabilizes your upper body against your chest, all this stuff. So I was really good at gym equipment type stuff. So I went over to his little gym where he was training. And day one, my day touching a kettlebell, I'll never forget it. So he shows me, picks it up. He's like, this is called the swing. This is a 2-arm swing. He goes, okay, this is a switching hand swing or hand-to-hand swing. So he's doing this, and he's a strong guy. So he's doing this, and he's messing around with it was a single 32 cast iron dragon doorbell, right? Because he got B1s. Those were the super nice ones at that time.
From Pavel, right?
Yes. They were pretty.
Those guys, they're still around. Those kettlebells.
They're badass. Yeah, those bells are badass, man. They're I love them.
They sold. I wonder how many they sold. I wonder if you could to this day look it up. It's got to be like hundreds of thousands.
Oh, for sure.
Because every once in a while I'll go. I mean, now gyms are closed, but every once in a while I'll go to like a gym, and I'll find that fat ass grip iron kettlebell, and it'll say
Cheburashka.
Yeah, Cheburashka. Yeah.
Because it's shaped like the
I got one
basically Chebs. Buckley and I came up with a nickname for Cheburashka. We call them Chebs, and they basically call those the cast iron, the OG style Cheburashka, because the handle is round, kind of shaped like the ear of Chebs. Yeah. Which is like the Russian Mickey Mouse, not to bastardize what I'm thinking about.
But it's like a funny creature. Yeah, it's like this old school kind of creature. Mickey Mouse or, I don't know, SpongeBob SquarePants kind of kind of thing.
But I love those bells. Oh, man. So I walk up to this bell. I see Chris, my buddy Chris, do, 10 swings or something like that. And then he shows me like, whatever, hand-to-hand swings, does a few reps, just switching off. And I'm like, looking at this thing, I'm like, how much is that? He goes 32 kilos. I go, what's that? Like, because I couldn't do kilo math yet, right? Because that just American gym guy, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what is that? 70, 71? I'm like, in my head, I go 70.
Yeah.
I go 71 pounds, right? So first first movement I ever do with any kettlebell, 32 kg hand-to-hand swings, where you swing the bell and in midair you change hands and swing again between the legs and up and switch hands.
Okay.
And Chris goes, okay. He's like, I want you to go for 2 minutes or whatever he said. Dude.
Yeah, it fucks you up.
I went 20 seconds. Set it down, had to take a knee. I was gassed. Dude, my whole body was like, dude, my whole body was pumped. I was gassed out. I took a knee and I'm like, what in the fuck? Like, what the hell is this? Like, I was tripping out because this had to be a mistake. Like, I'm in much better shape than this. Right? I'm much stronger than this.
Right.
In my head. Bro, I was not doing true strength. You know what I mean? Like, I was doing gym strength stuff.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, because that is also awesome. And
right.
Gym movements are how you get big and for hypertrophy and all that stuff. So, like, it's still great, right? But I'm thinking, like, no way, 70-pounder this thing? What,
right, because if you're like a gym bro, like 70 pounds, I mean, it's like a good weight, but guys bench press 70 pounds. It doesn't sound like it's fucking like
exactly.
Murder
so I'm like,
right?
You're thinking like, okay, 70-pound dumbbell in each hand, doing certain exercises. You're like, okay, whatever. Wrong. When you add the ballistic movement, right, and all of your entire body, and decelerating this quick moving object that weighs that much on the very end of your appendages, right, like with all of this centripetal force and all this stuff. It's amazing. And so I was gassed, 20 seconds. And so I told Chris, I go, all right, hold on. Hold on. Give me a minute. I'm going to try again. I sucked even worse the next time, right? So I'm like, okay. He goes, Dolby, man, I told you. This is real shit. And I was like, what is this? So that was it. I felt completely defeated. So immediately, let's see if I can remember this correctly. Dude, I went home. Sergey, I went home and went online and ordered 3 kettlebells. That was it. I was like, yeah, because I was pissed.
That same day?
At my same day, I was pissed at myself. I go, what is this? No. I go, what is this? What? And Chris made me look like a joke. You know, I'm like, he's so much better at this than me. I'm like, what is this? So I went home and I'm actually remembering correctly. It's crazy. So a company called Gill Athletics.
I remember that. I think I've ordered some old school kettlebells from them too, but way back when. Yeah, I don't know if they're around still.
I think they sell like a lot of track equipment and stuff, right?
Oh,
so,
okay.
Gill Athletics. But I ordered these things, and I order, of course, this is what a brand newbie, wink, wink, should order when getting into kettlebells. So I order a 24K, a 32K, and a 40K.
Oh, you ordered a 40-kilogram kettlebell?
First fucking day, yeah. So I'm like, you know what I mean?
But they were going by kilograms too, huh? But by the way, I just wanted to point out too, like the brilliance of Pavel Tsulin's marketing back then, because they kept it in kilograms, and because they had the whole like, hello, I am Pavel Tsasulin. I am here to fuck you up, and we will work out with kettlebell. Don't press like little girly man, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it was brilliant for them to keep it in kilos, because I remember back in the day, people were always like, hey, what's 16? Because people would forget, and like, because I mean, I know kilograms, I'm familiar with it. So like, people would always ask me about, like, what is that? What is that? And I was like, man, it's smart, because even though it's annoying for some people, but I think like, it just kept that like, Russianness, like, hey, we're not changing it. We're keeping it in kilograms. Yeah, man. And, so you ordered the big old kettlebells, and how'd that go?
So that went really bad. And so I ordered 24, 32, and a 40 from Gill Athletics, and the handles were like, they had like steel seams all over them. And I mean, I'm not knocking Gill Athletics, because that was the company I ordered from, and they had them in stock. They were affordable, and that got me started, man. I just had to file down, the handles a bit to get rid of the kind of the sharp edges. But talk about just starting from just grit, like cast iron, you know what I mean? And like so, but I got my ass humbled, and so I would work on these things, and I was kind of at that time training, 3 reps, yeah, okay, I'm gonna do push press 3 reps. Okay, cool. We're gonna try a snatch, and we're gonna do. So I was coming from more like let's do like super powerful kind of strongman movements, maybe up to 3 reps, 4 reps. Because in my mind, that was kind of like what I was good with, right? Like, you know, with like gym training, strong, you move things, 3 to 5 times, maybe 8 to 10 reps if you're going cardio, right?
Right. But I mean, and were you like supplementing? Were you getting those ideas from like Pavel stuff since you were familiar
here's
with that
the deal.
book?
So the Pavel stuff was cool. I started farting around, and then, but then I quickly discovered some Steve Cotter videos, and at that time I was like, no, that's the dude. I was like, no, that guy. I was like, that's the dude. I was like, I got to meet this cat, and he lived in San Diego at the time, and actually, speaking of my boy Chris Hoffman, who introduced me to kettlebell. So Chris and his wife at the time, Lisa, they actually reached out to Steve Cotter, and they said, "Hey, will you come up to Manhattan Beach and teach a 2-day private? No, it was a one day private workshop, 8 hours, private workshop." So this was the first time that I met Steve, and it was like maybe we had like 7 students in the class, whatever, and so Steve brought some bells. He brought all, cast iron kind of dragon door bells. Yeah. My memory serves me correct, because none of us knew like about the sport yet at all, right? And so in this workshop, dude, of course I use a 24K.
You grab
and
like the heaviest ones, dude, like everybody does.
I mean, absolute ego, right? So my ego was not in check yet. So I'm like, cool. Like, I've seen Cotter do this like amazing stuff. I'm like, I'll hang in there, show him that I'm kind of tough, and I want to feel this. And so I used the 24 and the 32 for the entire workshop. Yeah. Right.
And was Steve? Was he at this point like? Was he doing his like massive seminars that he got kind of ended up doing?
No.
So this was like super OG.
This was just full contact kettlebells.
Oh, so he just kind of came up just to hang out with you guys and some other people, huh? It was like a small workshop
exactly.
thing.
So IKFF had not been birthed yet, right?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so this was full contact kettlebells, and this is when I first started kind of communicating with Steve. But so he came up and taught the workshop, and I was like, wow, this is amazing stuff. So I got my ass handed to me. The next day I'd never seen 3 colors of like on my arms. I've never seen a bruise of 3 colors before. It was red. There was like blue, and then I forgot whatever other color, maybe black or pink. I don't know. It was It was nuts. Both areas, like where the wrist knuckle normally is.
There they are. Shushka.
So
they call them shushka. Yeah.
So
because the average person that doesn't lift, they have no fucking clue, right? And you were probably one of them, right? You just didn't know, right? No, like seriously, like the average person picks it up. I see it happen. I've seen it happen many times in the gym. The person will pick it up a couple times, and then they're like, "Man, my forearm hurt," and I'm like, "Yeah,
man.
You just don't. You haven't touched them before."
Because you got to think about it. For 8 hours, I was doing the up and over as far as the insertion.
Yeah, and
there's
you've never done that before.
There's no such thing as insertion when you just do up and over, because it's just a rotation of the handle. Right. And then the bell, the bottom, this bottom of this kettlebell.
There's a kettlebell.
This bottom. So
Jason
the bottom,
just pulled out a kettlebell. I love it.
So, well, there's always kettle next to me in my house.
Yes.
My dome. So this ball right here, this beginner style, the way I used to snatch, I swing it up or clean, and my hand and arm would stay still, and then you'd have the pivot and smash.
Yeah, just to explain that the ball of the kettlebell.
Yeah, exactly.
On top of your forearm. And, you
so
do that enough times.
Accelerate the speed, add like 50 extra pounds to that, and then add 8 hours of that. And so I was toasted, and I was probably lucky I didn't break anything in my arm, right? Yeah. And that was it. I was hooked. That was it. I needed more of this, right? I was like, oh, man. I'm like, okay, I'm learning, but I still suck really bad, but I'm learning. And wow. And then so it was pretty cool. And then it was like the next workshop was, let's see. The next one, trying to think here. Yeah. So.
And this is also
After
Steve, because Steve became kind of, kind of famous in that world too, because he started doing this workshop with the brand called IKFF, which I think he still is the IKFF, right? He's still around. And his partner then was Ken Blackburn. I don't know if they're still doing stuff, but so that's then they became kind of the go-to guys, I think, to teach kettlebells here, besides Pavel's Heart Style. And so where'd that take you from there? So you just started working on your own, or So
what happened was the very next workshop that I attended was in Copenhagen, Denmark. So I went and got my arcade.
How'd that happen? You just flew straight to Denmark, or what?
No, here's what happened. Because I was asking Cotter. I'm like, hey, you going to do your full contact kettlebell certification yet? I want to get a certification so I can put it on the wall of the Spectrum Club where I work, just so people can understand, like, okay, this guy's somewhat competent or whatever with these crazy things that kettlebells they didn't know in 2006. They're like, what is this? So it was I think the very beginning of 2007. I went to the workshop right after Gregor Sobakon went to the workshop in Denmark. So I wanted to get my certification. Cotter wasn't quite ready with his yet. So I'm like, I just needed one to put on the wall at the gym. So I was like, cool, let's go meet Pavel, get the RKC. And I had a choice, bro. I had never been outside of the country. I live in Southern California. Tijuana does not count as leaving the country. It's like San Diego, right? So I say, okay, I had a choice, bro. I had a choice of going to Minneapolis, Minnesota, or Copenhagen, Denmark. And it was like the same price. It was cheaper. It was like $200 cheaper, $300 cheaper in Denmark. But then you pay for the flight. So it was like, it was a no-brainer.
But you get to visit another country, and you get to see some cool shit.
It was amazing. So it was cool. I met Tommy Eli, and Andrea Duquesne was actually my group instructor. Rannick Donald from Scotland was in my group. It was so cool. The Hungarians were deep. There was like 25 Hungarians, and we had, I think, 65 students. So great course. I met Kenneth J.
Oh, wow. And so Pavel was teaching it head on.
Yeah. Pavel, super nice guy. Super cool voice. Yeah, super nice guy. Really good instructor.
Yeah, last I saw him, he's still here in Gold's Gym. He lives in LA, I guess, because he goes to Gold's Gym and he puts on a bandana and he just fucking does these exercises with just this loud, piercing exhale, which always fucking doing it to this day.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so how'd it go there? Yeah.
So it was really great. Great experience. It hooked me even deeper into the kettle. So, thank you, Pavel, for reintroducing really America to kettles. So that was super awesome.
Yeah.
And that's, just really great. So I came back, and so I had my cert, which was great. And then I stayed in communication with Steve Cotter because I really liked his energy, what he was about, and how he was lifting and so on. Man, this guy's really just really cool. And he's close. He's only 2-hour drive, so stayed in touch. And I told him at that time, I said, it's cool. Like, if it's okay, I wouldn't mind being kind of like a branch off of your tree of knowledge, but just in Los Angeles. And he's like, cool, man. So we stayed in touch. And then my buddy Chris Hoffman, who introduced me to the belt, he reached out to Cotter again and Fedorenko. Valery Fedorenko, who I will give the props and respect to him for the kettlebell sport in America the same way I will give that to Pavel Tsatsouline for bringing just the bells into interest in the physical training. So Valery Fedorenko, badass lifter from Kyrgyzstan, I believe. So he was starting to teach us kettlebell sports stuff. And I hadn't heard of this. So Steve Cotter told me, he goes, yo, come down to San Diego. He's like, I got to show you some stuff. He goes, I'm taking a pivot. I go, what do you mean you're taking a pivot? He goes, no, I'm going to pivot, man. He goes, I went to Greece, right? And Nakona and Kevin Chaudhary were on that trip to Greece.
Okay.
And they saw, I want to say, Philakidis?
Yeah, Philakidis. Yeah. Philakidis.
So Coach Philakidis, who I've never met, but I hear he's just amazing, badass, serious, super strong.
I never met him
grip
either.
crushing,
Yeah,
man.
big boy. Yeah, there's
Big
videos
boy.
of him on the YouTube. So,
yeah, man. And like, if you could survive his training, you were a straight thug in the world of kettle. Valery Fedorenko was one of those gentlemen, and I believe Arkady, I forget his last name, Arkady is. Yeah, I think so. He was also came out of that camp, I believe. Super tough guys. Anyway, so Fedorenko assisted Philakidis in Greece. I think it was also 2007, I believe. Cotter attended that. He came back and he's like, "Hey," hits me up. These guys are doing. He's got like a 15-year-old kid destroying me, and I go, "What? What are you talking about?" He goes, "Yeah, he's like kind of skinny, and he comes out in flip flops." Right. And then it was like some insane, like it was a 200-pound kettlebell or something crazy with all this stacked extra welded weight on it, and he was doing one-arm jerks. Right. And then, just drops the bell, walks off, smokes a cigarette, like some crazy.
And this is also in a day to give credit to Steve Cotter, too, because Steve Cotter is a bad motherfucker. I mean, you can go to YouTube to this day and find some videos of Steve doing, how about those jumping pistols he does on top of the table?
I mean, talk about a powerful, explosive dude.
Yeah, he's not a huge guy, but he's pretty well built, and he's been around forever, and so I can imagine being in his place, right, when he's just like
that's the thing. So
because he was a fucking man, and then going to see those guys, and
that's the thing.
Just getting
so
destroyed.
It's like, so he goes there and he's like, what? What? I got to learn more, right? Just like me with my buddy Chris destroying me, showing me these swings. I got crushed, and I'm like, I need more. So then Cotter started, really just communicating with Valery Fedorenko. And then Fedorenko would start kind of teaching workshops. I want to say the first one was in Seattle. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was Cincinnati. I don't know. But there was one in Seattle, and I think it was at Scott Sonnen's place, I think. But anyway.
Wow.
Then
you're bringing back some. Sorry to interrupt you. Just bringing back some OG names of the fitness industry. I love it.
Hey, look at all the great who here. That's how you know. That's how you know.
Master Jason has been around. Dolby has been around.
Yeah, exactly. So after the Seattle workshop, I believe the very next one was Manhattan Beach, and my buddy Chris Hoffman and his wife orchestrated that in getting that together, getting Steve Cotter to come up and assist Valery Fedorenko in that certification. So I took that and I was just like, whoa. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is crazy. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I have to share this. Before that certification with Fedorenko and Cotter, after Cotter's Greece trip, he hits me up and he's like, this is nuts. He's like, can you come down to San Diego? Like, I got some shit to show you.
Oh.
And that's when he was talking about these kids. Is my mic cool or is it swinging around?
No, you're cool. Yeah, all's good. Mm-hmm.
So Cotter, I go down and I meet him at this park in San Diego, and he shows up with these kettlebells, and they're different colors, and they're all the same size. And I'm like, I don't even understand.
Oh, so you mean the sport kettlebells?
Yeah, kettlebell sport. I'm like, what? I'm like, what is this, right? So he's got, watch this.
What's that?
He's got this, an analog clock, right?
Uh-huh.
And he said, it totally looks like I was prepared for this interview. Like, no, that's just laying around. So he's got the clock and he puts it against the tree, dude. And I'm wearing like, my flat Pumas, my Puma flat shoes, just kind of like, Steve, inspired by Steve Cotter. I got my Pumas on and shit.
Yeah,
like,
man. That was the style back then of all trainers, I think, right?
Yeah. And so got my like Guerrilla Nation t-shirt, all this shit. Like, so I'm ready. I got my headband. I'm like, what's up, Steven? What are we going to do? And he goes, all right. So when they compete for 10 minutes straight without setting it down. And I go, huh? I go, wait, you can't do that. What are you talking? What? And so he goes, no, they're doing that. And so he says, yeah, these are the three major lifts. He's like, you got jerk, you got snatch, and which is, combined is called biathlon. And then you have long cycle, which is you clean the bells to the chest and then you jerk them and then repeat. So it encompasses everything. And I was like, yeah, that one, that's mine. And so that became my thing, right?
Okay.
But so he says, all right, are you warm? Like, I go, well, I don't know. Let me stretch out for a sec. So the first thing I did, right? And this is like a lot of it, just my ego trying to kind of like, okay, I can't let Steve Cotter down. Cause like, I considered, Steve as kind of like my, my mentor and my coach, at that time. I'm like, I can't let Steve down, but I'm nervous to do what he's going to ask me to do. And so he's like, okay, let's just try 3 minutes. So we're going to go 3 minutes. And so he set out a pair of double 16 kilos. So 35 pounds each kettlebell. And they're huge. They're the size of the 70 pounders, the 80 pounder, right? I'm like, what? So weird. So I have to open my legs like even wider to get them through. I'm like trying to figure out the stance and all this. So he says, let's go 3 minutes. And he says, let's try, if you can do, doesn't matter, whatever you want. Maybe 6 complete revolutions or repetitions per minute or whatever. So, dude, I get to 3 minutes and I'm like, I'm dying, right? And then he's like, he goes, hey, he goes, you know what? Let's see, man. He's like, honestly, let's try to go 5 minutes. You've already made 3. So see,
you haven't gotten a break, so you're just telling you to keep going.
Yeah. So I'm still holding him in my pseudo rack position, whatever it was at the time,
right.
Holding the kettlebells high on my chest. And so he says, let's try to make it to 5 minutes. And so I go, I'm just like nodding and like I'm crying on the inside because it hurts so bad because you're out of breath, but you can't set the weights down. And, it's like nothing in my training had, prepared me for this. I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. And so then I get to 5 minutes and he goes, okay, one more minute. You can do it. And so I'm like, oh, geez.
Steve wasn't fucking around. He was pushing you there, man.
I know. And so I get to 6 minutes and then you know what he said? But it worked. It was like, he was like just evil genius psychologist or something. But he was like, you know what? You hit 6 minutes. You might as well just go the full 10 like the champions do, like the way they lift over in Europe. And I was like, so it was like, then that was like toggling the strings of my ego.
Yeah.
So I just made it work, but dude, I was like fucking tunnel vision and everything. I was about to die and not
Huffing
die.
and buffing.
I mean,
but yeah,
it
sure feels like it when you're holding 10.
Oh my god!
2
like,
kettlebells at your chest.
I made the 10 minutes, and he's like, not that many people over here can just do that. He goes, yeah, respect.
Do you remember how many reps you got?
Hell no. I don't know. Probably between 50 and 60. I have no idea.
Okay.
But this was, with a pair of 16s.
Oh, yeah.
And for me, like, that was my limit absolutely at that time. And so when he told me that, he's like, yeah, that's not a whole lot of people are going to just grit down like that and finish 10 minutes. The first time they touched kettlebell sport bells. And I was like, Steve Cotter gave me a cool compliment,
shit. Steve
like,
Cotter respect there.
So after that happened, the endorphins that I felt, the runner's high that I felt, I was lightheaded, but I felt like, there were so many times during that set where I wanted to quit. And by continuing and finishing the 10 minutes without quitting and setting down, then getting a really big compliment from who was my mentor and who I consider my coach at the time with kettles, bro, that it lit me. And that's it. I needed more and I wanted to improve and see if I could do that with the different colors. And at that time, all Fedorenko, the weights that Fedorenko was able to get over here, right? This is what we had in the beginning. So John Buckley, my partner in crime in Orange Kettlebell Club, the founder of the OKC, he would always call it the dark ages of kettle. in the United States, and where we didn't really know what we were doing. We were trying to do our best, and I love those days. It was amazing. And what we had was 26 pounders, 12 kgs, right? Mm-hmm. And then your next option was 35 pounders, 16 kgs. Mm-hmm. Next option after that was 24 kilos, right? The 53 pounders. Mm-hmm. And then you want to go up from there, 32 kettlebells, which are 71 pounds each. So these are
straight to 32.
Massive jumps in training, but it's like the old school way anyway. But that's what we had. And there was no intermediate, no 28s, no 20 kg, no, you know what I mean? No. It was like click, massive click, and go big or go home if you want to get better. And bro, there was a lot of suffering, and just it was amazing. And bro, and got my
Dark Ages. I love
Dark Ages. Yep.
And so how did you mentioned John, and how did you and John link up?
Yeah, so this was awesome. So there was actually another certification that Fedorenko was teaching in San Diego, right? And so it was at the World's Gym in San Diego, and Steve Cotter being from San Diego, that's super easy for him to assist Fedorenko. And so it's when I met Kate Imes, when I met Marty Farrell, and I met John Wild Buckley. And so Cotter asked me, he said, this is going to be a big certification. He says, could you come down, if you don't mind, maybe, bring the bells that you have, because nobody had bells really at that time. Right. Just bring the bells that you have and, come down and would you mind assisting me, like just kind of helping Fedorenko and like whatever. And like, we're trying to grow this thing and get more people. So I showed up and I was sicker than a dog, man.
Not a good day.
I had the flu. So I showed up with gloves on so I didn't spread germs. Like, it's funny we're talking about that now, right? But I show up and I've got knit gloves on. I'm trying to stay warm. I'm on like cough medicine and whatever, Theraflu, whatever the hell. I've got a beanie on, and I've got this Pendleton flannel, like this button up, really thick, warm flannel. But I was no way in hell I was missing an opportunity to work with Steve Cotter. No way. So I went down, and Buckley was one of the students going through that class. And then so I'm going around to different groups and this and that, and started chatting with him. And I remember when I heard someone call him John, I was like, and I turned, I go, that must be John Brookfield. I hear all this stuff about Brookfield and his crazy strength and all this stuff. And I turn and, but no, he goes, oh, I'm John Wild Buckley. I go, cool, nice to meet you. Dude, it was just, I don't know, something about it. We just clicked, bro. Like, it was funny. Like, I'm supposed to be assisting, kind of this whole workshop. And I just, like, found myself just chatting with Buckley and, like, his other buddy from San Francisco at the time. Forgot his name. But, yeah, dude, like, we just kept chatting about training and all this cool shit. I'm like, dude, I was like, this guy's dope. So I give him a business card, all antiquated, right? Like Cali Caveman was my business at that time. I gave him a business card. I'm like, dude, hit me up, bro. Let's stay in touch. Right? Never heard from him. Right? So then a short time later, Steve Cotter and Ken Blackburn were about to basically roll out the very first international kettlebell, and what is it? Oh my gosh, shame on me. IKF, sorry, International Kettlebell and Fitness Federation.
Yeah.
My bad, Cotter. My bad, Blackburn. But International Kettlebell and Fitness Federation. So he's about to roll out the very first certification, right, in Chicago.
Okay.
So I'm not going to miss that shit. So, but I'm there this time as a student, right? Like, so Blackburn and Cotter were putting this together, and I just basically kind of offered my assistance, but I was there to go through that course, and Susanna Baxter was there to go through the course, and Buckley walks in. I go,
oh,
what? I go, dude, didn't I see you like 3 weeks ago? I go, boom. I go, what? What is it?
Oh, so this is like a short time right after that.
Very short time.
Ah, okay.
And I was like, bro, you never hit me up. I was like, you never hit me up. He goes, and like, typical Buckley fashion, he's always got some like smooth line. He's like, yeah, he's like, I don't do that until I bump into someone 2 times or something like that. He goes, yeah, I saw you second time. He's like,
now I'll hit you up.
He's like, you're cool. He's like, yeah, cool. So then we stayed in touch. That was great. And after that course, I remember talking to Steve Cotter and Blackburn. I'm like, you know what? It's like, I want to, continue like assisting you guys with IKFF stuff if you're cool with that. And I said, but at the same time, I got to tell you, like, this guy, Buckley, he's articulate as hell. He's super sharp. He's a freaking lit major. And he looks like that. He's jacked. And he can, like, pick humans up with one fucking hand and press them over here. I'm like, he's also the guy. Like, I'm like, he's dope. Like, I was like, you got to bring him on. So then it was the 4 of us. It was Cotter and Blackburn were at the helm, like steering the ship. And John Wild Buckley and myself would actually teach the smaller certifications at that time for IKFF.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I did not know that because, I went to one of those also, and it was in Santa Monica. And Steve was, it was just taught by Ken.
Okay.
I don't think I met Steve then. I met Steve later. But, it was Ken Blackburn and our good old pal, Mr. The Ritz showed up, which we could do a whole 3-hour podcast just on that guy. But
yeah, let's do another one on The Ritz.
We definitely should. And I thought about it actually. Yeah, we'll figure that out later.
Yeah.
So anyway,
yes.
Yeah. So, and that was, but I didn't know that you guys were teaching also. I wonder why you weren't at the Santa Monica one, or maybe you just had something come up, or I don't know.
It depends on what year. What year you went to that?
That I have no idea, man. But
yeah, because Buckley and I parted ways from IKFF at the very end of 2009 / beginning in 2010, but I believe it was the very end of 2009.
Yeah, probably later than that. So probably that's
so that's why. But I mean, all is good. Sometimes you part ways or whatever, but all is good. Kept everything cordial, and I still.
So you guys started your
still
own.
Love those guys.
Was that immediately kind of like, hey, let's start our own kind of thing going?
It was pretty much
Okay.
And like Buckley was like, "Is this the moment?" And like he said,
that's a good Buckley impression.
yeah. He said something like that, but it was like a wrestling thing, like WWF kind of. Is this the moment? You know what I mean? Like, but I didn't grow up watching, pro wrestling like that. So
yeah,
I'm
me
like,
neither. But I get what you're saying, bro.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. But I got what he was saying, and I was like, hell yeah! I was like, should we just do this shit? And like, now I was like, it was crazy. And then Buckley was like, hey, like, Dole, you want to go to Russia and do a workshop with such and such and this and that and that.
That was kind of the first idea.
IKSFA, the ICSFA, was just getting put together.
Wow.
And so we went in, in 2010.
What year was this? 2010. Okay.
2010. And it was March. I think it was March or April in St. Petersburg. And so
you and John, just the two of you guys, as far as like coming together from here, it was just you guys?
Actually, no. Here's who we had from the States. All right, and apologies to anyone if I'm forgetting, but so it was Buckley and myself. It was Nazo, okay. It was Kevin Jaldry and Nakona Jaldry,
okay,
and it was Jeff Martone.
So it's a big group
from the States.
And you guys flew all together from
no,
here? Okay.
No, Buckley, myself, and Nazo flew out, and we met at the San Francisco airport. Okay. And then I believe we flew out of San Francisco or LA. But anyway, then it was
straight to St. Pete's, huh?
No. It was like a quick stop in
Moscow?
Finland, I believe.
Finland. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
quick stop in Finland.
Okay.
Because, as you know, right, the Bay of Finland is right there. So
Yeah,
you just
it's really close. Yeah.
basically you just hop over the water. It's a super short
a
flight,
40-minute
or
flight.
maybe it could have been Norway airport. But anyway, it was a very short flight. It was a short flight.
Probably
over.
Finland. Yeah, Finland is just
Yeah.
across the border.
Yeah.
You can maybe
So-
drive there.
So
And so that was your first. You've never been to Russia before, and you
No.
arrive to St. Petersburg. And
Yeah.
I mean, do you remember your first impressions of Russia?
Oh hell yeah! So now, as you know, I get geeked up and I can go off on tributaries and kind of peel off of the mainstream. So I don't want to do that too much in respecting our conversation.
Nah, man,
but
do whatever you want, though. I like
okay,
it.
cool. I appreciate that.
Please.
I appreciate that shit. I appreciate that. So when I so it's kind of a trip, but before I even knew that we were going to take a trip to Russia,
Mm-hmm.
I was already messing around with Rosetta Stone level 1 Russian language. I was one time I was stuck in jury duty, and you go and you wait all day to find out if you're going to be on a panel. And this is before smartphones were smart. I mean, you had phones, but no one's really doing anything on them. So I brought with me a book called Russian in 10 Minutes a Day.
Damn.
Right? And in this book, you have all sorts of things, very cool. Stickers you can put on your refrigerator. Холодильник, right? Like little words that say like,
Nice.
oh, I can.
He still got it.
Refrigerator. Yeah, so,
Холодильник.
yeah. And but they have, like, in the very beginning of the book, the Cyrillic alphabet. Like, and so what in the hell? So during my jury duty time, I taught myself how to read Cyrillic. And
So you kind of came prepared a little bit, somewhat, huh?
yeah, but on two different levels. So one level was that I came prepared almost on accident, because I had already been messing around with the Russian language to learn some words and to improve my pronunciation, and to also kind of learn the Cyrillic, to read a little bit and this and that, right? But I wanted to actually improve my character Milos. And this is before I knew. It was before I knew I was going to actually go to Russia. But when I was teaching for IKFF and all this stuff with Steve Cotter, and man, they would, like, the students would go bananas. Like, they would love it. Steve Cotter would be like, hey, you want to go out and teach the hand-to-hand swing as Milos? And I was like, boom, let's do it. So I'd go out and do that, and I'd stay in character. Really? Okay, get your kettle. I'm going to show you something different, but more. You know what I thought? So, bro, I would go out and crush. So
this is your alter ego, like a Russian that you guys created while you're hanging out there, huh?
Right. And so, yeah, bro. And so that actually, my ability to do certain voices and so on, that stemmed from my dad just being awesome as a kid and letting me stay up and watch Saturday Night Live with him, SNL, right, as a kid. And what my dad would do is, on the commercials, we would watch these things together, and then on the commercial he would say, okay, now I'm going to impersonate Adam Sandler, or I'm going to impersonate Dana Carvey and Kevin Nealon doing Hans and Franz, making fun of Arnold Schwarzenegger, all these things.
So
and
so
my dad would do the impersonation. My dad's pretty good. And then he would have me try, because he just thought it was fun. And it was it was like our thing when we would watch SNL together. And I was little, bro. So I developed this mimicry ability to sort of mimic sounds when I was very young.
Yeah, and I think to this day you still have probably the best Russian impression of any American that I've ever met. In fact, so many times,
bro, that's huge.
So many times,
bro.
dude. So many times I watch an American movie, and they'll have like and I get it, like, because the business is like, it's one thing to do impressions, it's another thing to be a good actor, because you can have a great accent but be a terrible actor. So I get it. Like, sometimes they cast like actors that are like supposed to be Russian bad guys, but they're like clearly by their face American, which is one level, because like I don't know what it is, and your Russian will tell you this, but for some reason we can just tell by the face which person is Russian. It's not like it's not as simple as some people say. Like it's high cheekbones or
No,
you
no,
know
no.
like feline
It's
eyes.
just a thing.
It's
Yeah,
just a thing, and I have no idea how to explain it. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess maybe like it's sort of like people who speak Spanish, they can kind of tell by like the accent, like where the person is from. It's sort of like that, but except like physically, I have no idea. I can just tell you. Like if I see fucking Fedorenko walk down the street, I'm like, that's a Russian guy, Or Kyrgyzstan, by the way, because back then it was all Soviet Union mixed, so it didn't really matter.
Exactly. Yeah, trade language. Yeah, absolutely.
So anyway, so many times I'm watching like a movie and they have like a American actor who he may be a good actor, but his accent is fucking atrocious. And and you know how like as an American you're reading the subtitles, right? Because you don't understand what he's saying. Well, guess what? I'm also reading the subtitles so many times because their accent is so bad that I can't understand what they're saying in Russian. And like I said, it's not like I'm not like hating. The one guy that did it great was Viggo Mortensen in Eastern Promises. He was a great badass movie.
He was good.
Badass acting.
He was good.
Badass Russian. He fucking. But then again, I know about him. He speaks Danish. He speaks like 4 languages or something. So he's like a really talented guy. Yeah. So he was like one of the only guys that I've seen. I was like, okay, like I didn't have to read the subtitles. I can understand what he's saying. Anyway, so many times I'm watching that and I'm thinking, man, they should fucking put Jason in there. He would be way better with this accent.
Yeah. So it might be coming. So I think I'm sort of, it's a good thing. I'm going to go ahead and say it, but I might be putting a lot of pressure on myself by saying this, but it's fine. So you never know, but that may actually become a thing later on because New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, I haven't decided yet, but that's going to be the inaugural episode of Cooking on Milosh.
All right.
My YouTube channel that I'm going to kick off. So that's just to get some work, So if if you have a body of work that you can point people to and they see, okay, this guy, whatever, he's kind of goofy. He's got this Russian character Milosh and okay, great. He's doing all this crazy, just brutal, just cooking techniques that, it's 10 times harder than it should be, all that stuff, whatever. And so at least I'll have a body of work. And the idea behind that is so that moving forward, I can mess around and do a little bit of voiceover work if possible, like animation kind of things in my head. I'm thinking of, if they have Finding Nemo part, 7 and he swims off of the shores of St. Petersburg, Russia. He bumps into another fish, right?
So we'll put pressure on you, and I'll remind you to keep get on it. So
exactly. But I look forward to that, and to interject on what you were saying before. And now, don't get me wrong. I think that for the most part, like Travolta's good. Like Travolta is a good actor for the most part.
Yeah,
but,
fair to say.
But I must say, there was a movie he did with Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
And Robert De Niro was this ex-Marine from the States, if my memory serves me correctly. And Travolta was this ex-Chechnyan rebel, I believe, and trade language like Russian. And so he was cast to play this role with a Russian accent. Speaking English with a Russian accent.
I'm not sure what movie you're thinking of. I wonder what this movie is, but
bro,
is it fucking the worst thing you've ever seen?
Bro, like I was watching it and listening, and I was like, "Oh no!"
Oh no!
Like, yeah, and I'm
is
an
it
American,
the Killing
right?
Season?
Like, I'm
is that the name of the
guy
movie?
Watching this. Yeah. So.
Okay. Killing Season. Is that the name of the movie?
So yeah, that'll be your homework. You gotta watch that.
That's my homework. I'll check it out. It sounds awful.
So it was just nuts. So anyway, yeah. So after they're out of the military, like they still have this huge grudge match, De Niro and Travolta's trying to come after De Niro and all this stuff, vice versa, whatever. You just have to see it. And I was like, I get it. The name's famous. That'll sell sell some DVDs, I guess. But
right, is the worst thing. All right, that sounds good. I'm always, another movie that won an Oscar. And again, I mean, well, the movie did not deserve an Oscar, but there's just nothing else that's made that's good this year's that it won. It's called Shape of Water. Did you see that one?
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Like a romantic movie. A chick falls in love with a beast. I mean, it's just a Beauty and the Beast kind of story. I mean,
okay.
Jesus. But the whole time they're being followed by these like Russian KGB spies because this takes place, I don't know, in like maybe the 50s or the 60s or something like that.
Okay.
And dude, they are so fucking bad, like so bad. Like it's not even like you said. Like there's some movies where I'm like, it's terrible, but like I think isn't the Triple X with Vin Diesel? Isn't he supposed to be a Russian there? Do you remember that original one?
I don't
or is it like
know if he was supposed to be Russian.
It wasn't Russian. Okay.
But I don't know. I'm not sure.
But there's some movies, where I'm watching, I'm like, I get it, the bad Russian guy, and it's like, this is bad, but it's okay, like it's watchable.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, The Shape of Water was the fucking worst. And it won an Oscar too because it was such a high budget movie. I was just shocked that I was like, they could not get anybody to speak a lick of Russian. I mean, they didn't even have any like, super important parts. So but that's Hollywood for you.
Yeah.
So anyway, man, so tell me about Russia. How was your fucking experience in St. Petersburg the first time you went down there?
So I was geeked up. I was so excited because I'm like, here we go, the motherland of kettlebell lifting, and we're gonna meet these great coaches. Mm-hmm. We're gonna meet Sergei Rachinsky. We're gonna meet Denis Vasiliev. We're gonna meet Sergei Rudnev and our Arkady wow. And it was just, I was so excited. And Buckley was so excited. It's just, oh, wow. So we go there. Mm-hmm. So on the first day, and dude, my apologies. Tom Corrigan, dude. Tom Corrigan was with us.
Oh, I remember Tom.
Tom Corrigan was a big part of setting that trip up, bro.
Oh,
sorry,
okay.
Tom. Bro, Tom Corrigan. Mm-hmm. And he, so at the hotel, Gostinitsa. So at this this hotel,
throws in the Russian word for hotel. Yeah. Good man.
So boom. So Tom Corrigan, he was great. So he's telling us all these stories about Sergei Mishin and all this stuff. Like it was great. And I believe we met Sergei Mishin on that trip too. Anyway, first day in Russia. True story. We get there. I'm doing my best to like read everything. Like. I'm like, I see a building. I'm like, Buckley, Velosipedi. I'm like, I swear to God, bro, you can rent bikes there or buy bicycles or some shit. Like, no, I'm telling you that says bicycles. I promise you.
That's impressive, man.
Nice. I'm like spelling it out. Producti. I'm like, this got to be produce or products. You probably get milk and bread and shit there, right? And so anyway, I'm going nuts, just reading everything like a 4-year-old.
That's good.
And
what scares? Yeah. I was just gonna say, like, because that scares, like, the Russian Cyrillic scares so many people away that they don't realize that, like, actually once you learn the Cyrillic,
100%, yeah,
you can fucking read Russian. The problem is understanding and
bingo,
and putting it together 100%. And having the correct ending and the terms and the times and all that other bullshit. Which, like, even as a Russian speaker, it's like, dude, sometimes we're like. Why? Because there's like, like in English it's like you eat, I eat, we eat, and in Russian it's like я ем, ты ешь, они едят, мы едим.
Yeah.
And it's like, why?
It keeps changing, yeah.
It's all changing, and it's
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But that's cool, man. So you're like reading everything as you're riding around.
So so just going off, like, and just, it was super exciting. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, was first trip. Oh, and Andrew Durniat was with us. Sorry, Andrew. Andrew Durniat was with us on that first trip as well. Strongman Durniat, and so anyway, so I'm reading everything, and it's just, I'm reading, but just like you said, I can, if there was, at that time, if it was me and a blind Russian man, we are good to go, because I can read it and pronounce the Cyrillic words, most of which I have no idea what I'm saying, but he could hear the pronunciation, understand what I'm saying, and then he can speak Russian. We'd be good. We'd be a good pair.
Yeah.
But like you said, there is so many words in Russian language that have a very similar sound to English, and I believe it's the same way in German as well. Like some words, Russian words, were like German that have been like altered, like chleb, which I can't even still say. It's hard, like bread, the word for bread or something. But these things are similar. So you pronounce, you see the word, you pronounce it, and then you try to, okay, what does that sound like? And then it's like theatre, theatre. Whoa, shit, theater. Okay, cool. Like, and I mean, word like you can read Cyrillic, taxi. Like, come on, man, taxi. Like, bro.
Okay,
like,
there's a lot of words that are shared. Yeah,
a lot of words, very similar. And also, this, I don't know if anyone has ever done this anywhere. Maybe so, but that day in jury duty, when I taught myself Cyrillic, I helped myself out by looking through the Cyrillic alphabet, and I said, okay, cool. Which letters, first things first, are like redundant, right? Which letters are the same in Cyrillic and the same with English alphabet, like.
I see.
And
so
okay. this was yeah. So but a king might overthrow.
Oh, so you created like a little thing for you.
Yeah,
to remember.
a king might overthrow, right? So a key. I'm not a Russian now, no, but yeah. So you go through those, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, like, okay, cool. T, yeah, that works. All right, cool. M, yeah, that works. Okay, cool. O, yeah, okay, cool. Like, all right, yeah. A, yes, and then K. All right, cool. Like, so it's an interesting thing, but when you have that on lock, a king might overthrow. You're like, okay, cool. Now I know those, and then you only have to learn the rest. You know what I mean? And then it was fun because I made it fun by, as I studied, I would read to myself as Milo. So I'd read kind of like quietly and looking around. Okay. I was like, okay, this, da, e, we, like trying to make these sounds and all this stuff. It was really cool. But I had fun with it. So it stuck in my head. And here I am in Russia doing that. So we get to the hotel, we check in, this and that. We're like, what do we do? All right, cool. So we went literally right across the street and shot automatic machine guns.
What?
So that's
what you guys did?
Story.
Who took you to do that? Seriously?
Dude, the first day. So, yeah, you know, I mean,
oh, man.
Alexander Kashin, you know, R.I.P., rest in peace, Alex.
Right,
but
I've heard about that recently. I didn't know that he passed away. Rest in peace.
Yeah, I know. That's so crazy.
To hear that because he was so Alexander was one of the translators there, right? Because he spoke English.
Yes,
he
correct.
lived in New York, I think, right?
Yeah, New York. Yeah, correct.
So
he
came out for the trip.
And so yeah, Alex was basically kind of helped us translate when we walked over there. And then there was this guy. He was terrifying. He was like the Igor Morozov of machine guns. Like, no, I'm not even kidding. Like, this guy was terrifying. And he was like, he kept yelling at us. Like, so when I don't know, we were shooting some crazy rifle that they used in World War II. Like, you know, just crazy rifle. And you sit down, it's bolt action, and he's like yelling at us, 3 inches, 3 inches. He's telling us to keep our eye 3 inches away from the
smack in the fucking eye.
Exactly, because the recoil is going to smack that rifle, that eyepiece back in your face. He would yell, and he's like, stop. He's like, okay, fire. And he was just like, so, whoa. That guy was like, and he was jacked too. He like looked crazy. I was like, you know what? I'm going to make sure I'm friends with this guy, you know. So I'm using my Russian to, you know, compliment him and say some different things and whatever. But so after shooting a gang of Uzis and automatic shotguns and Benellis and World War II rifles and stuff right across the street from our hotel, then Buckley and myself and Tom Corrigan, we walked to the liquor store. You know, what else do you do on your first day in Russia? We walked to the liquor store.
You guys got a fucking fun treatment in Russia the first day. Yeah, that's hilarious.
True story, bro. So, yeah, I mean, hey, Russian experience. Get it right. Boom.
Oh, man.
And so Tom Corrigan went with us, and I remember it's kind of crazy. I remember this shit, but, like, Tom Corrigan, he bought a bottle of Standard, the vodka.
Ruski
Very
Standard.
very commonplace. It's probably like the Sky or whatever vodka of Russia.
But
just
you can even find it here in Ralph's most days of the week. I've seen it.
I know it's here also, but but it was so anyway. So that's what he got, and Buckley and I, we just got several bottles of like Baltica 9, Baltica 6, and like
had all the
that's
Balticas.
correct, Baltica 6 and Baltica 9. So Russian beer,
Yeah.
Bilo,
Bilo,
and so so we took those back, and might as well drink some Russian beer on the first day, just chilling at the hotel, and then we're trying to figure out.
You guys must have thought that's what Russia is. That's it, just shooting guns and drinking beers and getting wasted, huh? And lifting kettlebells, I guess.
Well, it was right there. It was right there next to our hotel. So I'm like, might as well shoot automatic machine guns on first day. So I don't know.
Yeah, man.
And and then it was it was dope, and the course was great. We got taken to school, cleaned up real quick. I remember that I had some lingering discomfort from a couple of little baby stress fractures, where below where the wrist knuckle is that you see now, I used to hold the bell with the hand cocked back like this, so the ball of the kettlebell would sit lower.
So it hurts even more.
And it would sit kind of right on your radius bone of the forearm. Very uncomfortable. And then messing around with, I have this, what was it? Well, I added weight to it for swings and some crazy stuff that I do with this one bell. But at the time, it was a 56 kg, I believe. So it was like 125 pounds. I want to say that in case I'm off in the kilos, but it was 125, and ordered that from, forgetting the company right now, but it was like Overdrive Athletics or something. But anyway,
maybe Perform Better or something.
No. This
That's
was
way ahead, huh?
They jumped in way later, and so I started doing some one-arm jerks, trying to do like some strong stuff like the kids from Greece were doing this and that, but like, bro, with my hand position in that handle not being in the appropriate posture, right, for the hand, that much weight was sitting too low, and I created a real problem with my forearms. So as I was healing, like a real genius, my ego did not let me rest for 4 to 5 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever that you would for a bone. And so I just started wrapping the shit out of my my wrists and forearms with ace bandages, really thick. So I got used to that. And then when I got there on day one, I was sitting there after lifting a little bit, and we're listening to Sergey Rudnev teaching the course. And this is like on, I think, the day number 2, the first day of the course. And Sergey Roshinsky, he jogs over and he just kind of slides down across the wooden floor of the gym, and he grabs the wrist wraps that are on my wrists, and he unravels it, and then he just throws it, and he goes, "Oh no!"
Really?
And he just throws he throws it away, and I'm like,
"Oh man,
oh shit!" Like, so I'm thinking like, "Oh man, this is gonna be a real problem." With my forearms. And I was nervous about it, and I was trying to explain and have Alex translate. And so Sergey Rudnev was like, "No.
So no cocking of the wrist, just keep it straight. Don't bend
so
the wrist.
Yeah, and so it was super weird because my forearms were still sore and hurting kind of from the healing. So I had it here, right, sitting like this, sitting kind of low, and then
you just slide it up a little bit.
No.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. And then we're like, okay, boom, the insertion, really learning this and all that. Like, dude, it was dope. And so immediately, just by that, like when I went to
something right away.
Yeah, when I went to I was like, that doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
And I was like,
So
whoa,
you
it
guys
doesn't
met
hurt.
like all the superstars of the fucking kettlebell
Igor
world.
Morozov was assisting.
So you met like Sergey
was
Ruchinsky, Sergey
Sergey Mishin.
Rudnev, Sergey Mishin, who's like he was like the, I don't know, Michael Jordan of kettlebells.
The
back
god,
in
the
day.
absolute god of kettlebell lifting.
And Igor Morozov and
Yep.
Denis Vasilyev also, right?
Arkady
Of course, Arkady.
Vasilyev.
So
yes,
you met a lot of guys. And how long was that course? How long were you there for? Like a week or something like that? 5 days?
Yeah. I think we were there for a week, but I think the course was like 5 days. Maybe it was Monday through Friday or something like that. I think. I think so.
So you had the course, then you guys got a bunch of knowledge, and went back to the States.
Yeah, we went back and we stopped. Like we went back and we stopped teaching for a while because
why?
We were just like, oh shit. We were just like, bro, we got some shit to learn. Like we got like.
Did you feel a little bit outschooled, or what? Did you kind of feel like, oh shit, these guys know some shit that we don't know?
Oh yeah, no, it was great. Like no, it was. I mean, we were doing so much wrong. We didn't know. We had pieces that we learned from Fedorenko, but like Fedorenko like didn't share a whole bunch of stuff, and like so. We had some pieces, and then we were working with also a gentleman named Dennis Kanajan for a while, and he was able to kind of piece together some other things. He could read Igor Morozov's blog, so he was doing his best to try to kind of show us some other pieces with breathing that was a little better. But bro, once we got to Russia, we were like, wow, okay, we don't know anything. We're just like all trying to complete white belt, right?
Yeah.
White belt mentality time. Is we got to learn and we have to practice and get the breathing down and all this stuff down from these workbooks that we had before we start teaching again. And I think the first one we taught after we came back from Russia in the States was at Red Barn in South Glastonbury, Connecticut with Terry Parker, my student, my very first kettlebell sports student, right?
Wow.
And that's where I met Dean Dufford as well. You know Dean?
I'm not sure. I'm familiar with him, but
yeah. So anyway, but we waited a while. Buckley and I waited a while before wanting to get right back into teaching. Right. Although we did fly to Japan in, I don't know, maybe it was like a month or two after we had come back from Russia to do our best to teach our first OKC.
In Japan.
Japan certification, yes. And we had gone, I have been to Japan 7 times teaching kettlebell. Yeah, so yeah, so I know a little bit of Japanese as well, but not nearly like my rest. Like if you drop me anywhere, any region in Russia, doesn't matter. I'm totally fine. I can get exactly what I need.
Yeah, you can
totally comfortable, 100%. No, legit, like absolute zero discomfort, no nerves. Even with everything going on, like I still would be very comfortable because I purposely did not learn any curse words in Russian, so I don't even know how to do that. And I did that in case like we were drinking somewhere and anyway, I made sure that's not going to be able to come out of my mouth. But what I made sure to learn was a lot of sistruka, a lot bratela,
a lot of like slang.
A lot of slang, a lot of like cultural kind of like, this is my bro, like, hey, yo,
slang,
come over here, man, let's hang out. Those kind of things. So all those are also still locked in the head.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Because you guys went back, and then I heard about something about you guys going back to Russia by yourselves, just you and John. How long after that first trip was that?
So that was our second trip, and that was nuts. So that was...
It was like a year later or something, or
no, not even. No, it wasn't. It was like, okay, so I think we were there. It was May. I think May. It was in May. And St. Petersburg was the first one, 2010. So then, ready for this? Not only did we go back for a third trip to the second ICSA certification in May of 2011, but in the meantime, we had this like combined idea that was so cool. And in the course, I said, this guy, Sergey Rudnev, I was like, Buckley, I was like, that's the guy. I was like, I want that guy. Like he should coach us. Like, that's the guy, and because Vasiliev was just kind of assisting, at that time, for Roshinsky and so on. But Rudnev, just the language he was speaking, and I was like, this guy's sharp. I really like this. And so I told Buckley, and this is during the class, I was like, bro, I have an idea. I have an idea. I go, do you think that we could convince that guy to let us come visit him in the far east of Russia, in Blagoveshchensk, and go to his village in the middle of fucking winter?
Wow. So you had this like Rocky moment, huh?
Yeah. Oh, dude, 100%, bro. Like, oh shit. Like, so it was just so dope. And then Buckley turns to me and he goes, and it's kind of like how Buckley and I work. We're just like, excuse me, kind of like two peas in the same pod in a lot of ways. Buckley turns and he goes, and do you think we could time it so that there's also a competition out there in the middle of winter in Eastern Russia that we could compete in? I'm like, done. It's like, let's try. And we made it happen. So the second trip was to go and stay with Sergei Rudnev for a week. So we were there. I think we were there. No, it was 10. It was 10 days. Yeah, we were there for 10 days. And the amount of shit we learned, man, was nuts. And it was like...
So Rudnev lives in Blagoveshchensk, which is like...
Blagoveshchensk.
Which is just above Vladivostok, I think. So it's the very end of Russia.
So it's actually quite a bit above, because Russia is so massive. So
yeah,
on our first day, and this may be for another chat we can do. I think for another podcast, if you'd be so cool as to let me on again, right?
Of course, brother. Anytime.
But that could be a combination of how the Ritz was birthed in the kettlebell world, slash the Siberian quest, that actual entire trip. But I'll give you just
you gotta let me know. Like, I mean,
taste
so
here, yeah.
What was even your flight like? How'd you get over there? So you guys, because you live in LA. Buckley lives in San Francisco, Oakland area, right? And what was your guys' trip? Did you meet up in San Francisco again and then fly over there, or what?
So we met up in LA. So Buckley, I think Buckley drove down to LA.
Okay.
Drove down to LA.
And you got on a plane here and flew out to Moscow?
My buddy Shaw Ali drove us to LAX at like 4 a.m. the day we were going to take off. And so this was our trip, and this is what we did to save $800. Because mind you, like, we were trying to teach these workshops. We're barely making ends meet financially. It was just, oh man, like we were really trying to put our all into kettle everything. OKC, we're trying to really just grow and learn and so on. And so to save $800 between the both of us, we decided that instead of flying into, flying into, not Beijing, but flying into somewhere in China and then having just another really quick plane flight
to
like basically Blago or somewhere very close to Blago, we decided, hey, okay, how about this? We save money, but then we have to. This is what happened.
Did you do the Trans-Siberian Railway or what?
Bro, we did Trans-Siberian Railway on airplanes before we even got to the frickin' Vauxhall, the train station, right?
Yeah.
So, bro, this is how it went down. 6-hour trip from LA, flight to New York, right?
Yeah.
We had like an hour layover, right? And which was bananas because Fyodor Melnyenko was on our flight.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, he's an MMA fighter. Wow, seriously?
Yeah.
Fyodor, did you see him?
He had just finished fighting Bigfoot Silva.
Oh, he just got his ass beat.
He was wearing. He got beat up.
Yeah, he got beat up bad.
He had big sunglasses on.
Watching. Oh, Jesus.
He was very bruised up, so he had big sunglasses on.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there with his crew, and they all look so fucking cool. And they're wearing these parkas. Like, I don't know why they were wearing the parkas inside.
We're Russian. Don't ask. This is what we
okay,
do.
yeah. Don't ask. Just wonder. Okay.
It's
but
that's old
so
school
cool,
Russian
man.
thing. Yeah.
So these red parkas, and I believe the company is Forward that makes those.
Yeah.
And you know Forward, the Russian company.
I have one of those fucking parkas. Actually.
Right? Yeah.
So yeah.
So Fedor had this red one with Russia across the back all big, and then it's got the fur.
That was the Olympics. That was like right after the Olympics. They became really popular.
Yeah. So anyway, it was dope. And what does Fedor do with his crew of like just thugs hanging around, this and that? They're fucking playing chess.
Yeah.
Playing chess. So they're all like cerebral and into the gangster. Something like cool. So anyway. So we're 5 rows behind Fedor on our flight. We take this flight to Moscow. All right. And so that's where Fedor gets off. So our flight to Moscow was from New York. I think it was like,
what, the time? It's a 10-hour flight. It's like a 9-10 hour flight.
9 something hours from New York to Moscow.
It's 9-10 hours, something like that.
So then we have another hour and a half to 2 hours, right? Waiting there. And mind you, that airport had just been bombed by terrorists like 7 days or 14 days earlier. And I think something like 30 people lost their lives or something like that. It may have been an airport next to that, but it was bananas. So Buckley and I, we were super nervous about the trip, right? And so it was in Moscow where it happened.
Well,
and so
chances of it happening a second time probably are lower. So there you go.
That's the thing. So that's in my mind. I'm like, yo, we got that. Then we had this other thing where Sergei Rudnev told us that he goes, you guys, the size of your beards right now, you're going to look like Russian priests. And he said something, he's like, yeah, it's probably a good thing. You're going to look like Russian priests and whatever. But, looking at us, we're American.
Yeah.
But so I had this plan. It was so weird. Once we got to the Moscow airport, before flying to Vladivostok, I said, okay, Buckley, we'll get some food and then wait for our flight by going to the complete opposite area of the entire airport and just sitting against the wall in the corner. Because if a terrorist wants to do his work, what's he trying to do? If he's a suicide bomber, he's going to try to go into a group and take out the most people that he can. Otherwise, it's a waste. He's not going to be like, oh, big group of people.
It's science.
Let me go over to those 2 weird-looking motherfuckers with the beards in the corner and take just 2 guys out.
No, I mean, you guys are pretty big, with your beards. I don't think. I feel like most Russians wouldn't mess with you guys. No.
Surprise. It wasn't Russians that we were worried about. No, it was a terrorist situation.
Yeah.
In the airport. So we're over there sitting in the corner with our backs to the wall, far away, just eating our snacks. Mm-hmm. So everything was good, and everything was safe. So we get on the flight, and this is when it gets very interesting. So we get on this Aeroflot, this airplane that was very antiquated, and it still smelled like cigarettes from the 70s and shit.
Yep,
like, I'm not even kidding. So this plane was...
I will say, though, just to give... Because everybody has such a bad impression of Russia, too. I will say that they have retired all of those old Aeroflot planes now.
Oh, right.
And they only fly new ones. Yeah, they're only flying the Boeing, like the new...
Oh, cool. Okay.
Ones,
so. Oh, cool. Right on.
Just so you don't freak out some other people,
Yeah, good call. But also too, you're even at that time, you're not going to experience that if you're going to Moscow or going to St. Petersburg.
Yeah,
not going to happen.
Yeah, you only go. But you guys are going to a tiny town.
When you go from Moscow to Vladivostok, no one gives a shit. Like, no one cares. Like, they're like, oh, cares. We'll put so they pulled out whatever Aeroflot was from 1971. Bro, it was fucking just loaded with cigarette, like, stench, and it was like, we were like, fuck, this is such a quest. It was so dope. It was so cool because you just, come on, man. And so we're on this plane, and this plane was, I don't know if it was slow or if just the fact that if you look at a map, check this out. If you look at a map and you fly, this is how huge Russia is. People don't get it. People don't get it. Russia is so massive. People have no clue. If you fly from West Coast to East Coast in the States, we're talking 6 hours max, dude.
Yeah.
6 hours maximum. Like, LA to New York, LA to Maine, whatever. 6 hours, man. Check this out. The flight from Moscow. Now, mind you, Moscow is already quite a ways.
Yeah, it's pretty close to the border.
From St. Petersburg, which is West Coast. It's quite a ways already inland.
Yeah, like
right?
If you're looking at a map, it's like pretty much there's the border to Ukraine. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So think about that. So our flight from Moscow to, mind you, 6 hours, LA to New York. Our flight from Moscow, which is already a big chunk into the country, Moscow to Vladivostok on the far east, eastern, southern, like tip of Russia was 11.5 fucking hours on a plane.
Yeah.
It takes 12 to go to Japan from LA.
I always do this thing where I tell people, like, because people ask me like where I was born, and I was born on Kamchatka, which is, you guys went to Vladivostok, and if you look at a map, Vladivostok is like the east southernmost end of Russia. And then if you go up a little bit, a peninsula starts, and that peninsula is called Kamchatka, and that's where I was born. And so I explain to people, like, if you take a flight from New York to Moscow, like you said, it's a 10-hour flight, right? Now, they have flights that go from Moscow directly to Kamchatka nowadays. And well, they always had them, but
okay.
Anyway, so you can so a flight from New York to literally across the Atlantic Ocean, across Europe to fucking Russia is 10 hours. But if you go from Russia, Moscow to Kamchatka to Russia, that flight is actually 12 hours. So just, so people can understand, as you said, how fucking big Russia is and how far away it is.
Yep. Bananas, bro.
Yeah,
Bananas.
You guys went pretty far. So you went to meet Rudnev over there, huh?
Dude, it was amazing. So the journey is barely halfway over, just getting to Blago. So after that 11.5-hour flight on the antiquated plane that has now been retired, we get to Vladivostok. And so Buckley didn't know the Vladivostok airport is 2 hours away from Vladivostok. We didn't know that. So Rudnev knows a lifter named Anton, or am I mixing it up? So no, Anton was his roommate that spoke Russian, but
Anatoly maybe. That's a common Russian name, no.
Vasi.
Vasya.
But yeah, so Vasi and
Vasily. Was it Vasily?
No, it was
so
not.
Vasya,
it was not. It was not Vasily. It was like Vase or Vasi.
Yeah, Vasya
anyway,
is like a common name.
Yeah, so this guy, Rudin, like we had no idea, no communication, whatever. Just supposedly these guys are going to be there to pick us up and drive us to the Vokzal, to the train station in Vladivostok, so we can then take the train ride to Blagoveshchensk, right? So these guys pick us up, and Rudnev just says, "Look for big guy, beard," as like John Buckley, right? Mm-hmm. So they find us, and Anton, he spoke English pretty much fluently, so it was like very easy. Yeah, because he was going to the University of I don't know Vladivostok maybe, but English University major, I think.
Nowhere Russia.
Yeah, exactly. So Vladivostok, by the way, is like if there's one city that I think represents like what I saw in that movie, like Children of Men or whatever it's called, where like it was kind of the end of days and like everyone's like just blue. I couldn't believe what I saw. Like it was unbelievable. The smoke coming out of these, like you could chew on it. Like there's like battleships that are like rotting in the creek and like,
Yeah, man.
bro, I don't know, it was amazing though. I loved it.
Yeah,
it's
it's
so
a
dope.
hard place though, right?
Dude,
Fucking hardens you up.
Like hard. You gotta be a hard ass to live there. And so they took us back, and the train was not ready for like 3 hours, so they let us come back, and they took us to their apartment building. And their apartment building was they hadn't changed the decor since some 90-year-old lady died in there. And so the decor was like all this just super fine, like little old school Russian, like plates and silverware or whatever. But they're like, oh, we just left it the way it was. And out the window, they're pointing and they're like, look. And so Vasi was like, oh, okay. He's pointing. And I don't know the term fisherman in Russian, right? But like, so riba, that's all I know. Riba, like okay, fish.
Rybak is the same. Yeah, riba is fish. Okay, rybak is like a person who fishes. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. So they're pointing out the window to these tiny dots, and I'm like, okay, and because the Sea of Japan, which we were looking at, the Sea of Japan is frozen for like in the middle of winter. It's frozen for like I don't know. What do you think? Like 10 kilometers out, right? Yeah. Something like that. Crazy. Yeah. So these guys make their living fishing for sardines with the old school screw like you see in the cartoons.
Yeah.
True story. And their backpacks, we saw them walking around, dude. These backpacks they were wearing, they were wooden because they were fucking seats. True story. and next to the seat was hanging the massive corkscrew that they sit on the ice and then, you know, boom, and then throw their line down and just, you know, drink vodka and just try to stay warm. And then they sell it to the produtti, like the little supermarket or whatever. Anyway, so we actually take a nap there, hoping that like hopefully we're not gonna like get murdered or like hopefully like we didn't even know. We were so tired. We were out. But they were awesome. They actually woke us up on time and they're like, okay, Buxall. And I was like, all right, Buck, train station time. And so so they took us to the train station, and then on that train, it was 33-hour train ride from Vladivostok to Blagoveshchensk, right?
Oh, so you had like a day and night over.
Yes.
Oh man.
It was amazing. So the reason it was so long, it wasn't that the Trans-Siberian Railway was incapable of getting there at a decent speed. It was because like every 3 kilometers, I don't know, maybe every 10 kilometers, the train would stop, and then different military personnel would hop on, and other military personnel would hop off, right? And so we were so exhausted, and there's just like bunk beds. And Buckley and I decided, okay, we're going to take bunk beds on the opposite side. We thought the safest and smartest way, we didn't know. Bottom bunk bed, he took bottom bunk bed on the left, and I was bottom bunk bed on the right.
Well, bottom is smart because you guys are so big. If you fall off, you're gonna fucking.
Well, not just that, but we can see. But we can like see
you guys
who's
fit
coming
in those bunk beds. Because in Russia, the trains. I mean, even the newer trains are nice to have pretty good beds, but still, the length of them is like. I mean, I don't know, 5'8" maximum. Like I'm saying, if you're like I know when I lay down, I have to tuck my legs up a little bit. I'm like 5'9", so
yeah. No, I don't know, bro. This train was fucking super old, bro. Like, hey, no, if you wanted to flush a toilet, there was no handle. So like, I'm like looking around.
You gotta press on the pedal. Yeah, that's old school shit, man.
There's a pedal. Bro, how am I supposed to know, right? So I'm looking around, and it's straight camouflage and shit. My eyes are not that good in the dark anyway, so the bathroom's super like dark.
Gray.
You know what I mean? You're trying to take a crap, and you don't even like. You're like, okay, I brought my own toilet paper for sure. So I came prepped with that.
That's smart.
Because I didn't know. And like there was like a couple of sheets of like, I don't know, like fucking like a couple of sheets of fucking drywall. Like, I don't know, I'm like, do I wipe my ass with that? You're lucky they
had that. Usually they have nothing there. Or you got to ask for it, you know?
So I'm like, what is that? Drywall and shit? Like, so anyway, so we came prepared with our own toilet paper. And, bro, like, so anyway, I'm like looking around, like, how do I flush the toilet? I'm like, what the hell? There's no handle to flush. I'm like, this is super weird, and I feel like the lame American who can't figure it out. Then I see this small chunk of metal that's sticking out of the floor. and it's only about, dude, where's the freaking camera? It's only about like that big around.
Yeah, it's tiny.
And it's like maybe an inch and a half off the ground. I'm like, I don't know. Do I fucking step on that? Right? So I'm like, I look at it, I'm like, take my foot and
when you press.
Boom, I step down on it. And then the toilet, this was nuts. The toilet goes, boom, and it just, boom, it opens up, dude, and everything just fell right down onto the fucking train tracks, dude. And this was in the middle of the daytime, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, what in the shit just happened right now, bro? I was like, what? What? Dude, is that legal? Was that okay? Like, you know what I mean? Fucking amazing, bro. And I go back and I tell Buckley, I'm like, bro, I got to share some shit with you about the bathroom. Oh, wow. That was amazing, bro.
Dude, I'm dying. I can't stop laughing. I'm crying right here.
The sound,
yes,
like once it opened up, you just heard like
because right now first you're in the train, right? The train
tracks and like, and I was like,
I can imagine your face.
I was like, I just pooped all over Siberia. Is that okay? Like, oh my God, dude, like, bro, that was.
Oh, you made me laugh so hard there, bro.
Oh, that was amazing,
I just because I know both worlds, you know what I mean? So I could just imagine, like, because, I'm super Americanized by this point, too. But so, like, I know the American, like, mind of thinking, and I can imagine, like, as an American, like, being in a train and being, like, it just drops the shit on the floor. Like, it's just the hole, and it doesn't go anywhere, because in your mind, like, in America, you think, like, oh, there's a tube, and the pipe takes it somewhere there. And then it gets recycled, right? And like somebody who's like a Greenpeace person fucking takes it and gives it to the whales that eat it, or whatever. And in Russia, it's just like...
I was like, bro. I was like, what the hell? Man. That was amazing. I was like...
Oh, that's so funny.
That was amazing.
That's a
holy shit.
So that was your big cultural shock. That was the toilet in the Russian train.
It was amazing. Like it was, because it was... Wow, it was just that was amazing. That was and then like it was cool, and you paid like I don't know, I think you paid like 10 rubles to rent like but you paid 10 rubles to use a reusable little pewter tea mug so that you could then get the tea bags and the hot water and the chai and everything, and it was so cool, so interesting, and we met so many different military personnel. One guy's name was Dmitry, and he spoke a little English, and I have a little Russian, so it just kind of works, especially if you're Samagon, whatever.
A little bit,
so
as we show like this in Russia.
or as or Igor, Igor would take Igor Morozov. He goes, Jason. So you like
a little bit of snap? Yeah, in Russia, I don't know why it's not an American thing, but in Russia you just snap you snap your finger against your neck, and that means
so he flipped his neck like that. And I figured out real quickly. Oh shit, that's the signal. Like, hey, you want to go, pound some whatever? Yeah. So he's like, I like whiskey, and I was like, oh cool. I like.
Yeah. So
everything.
So when you got to Rugnev's place, how was his training? I mean, how'd that go? Was that particular trip, was it like a big, was it another big kind of step up in your game and in your, knowledge correct, and all that? That was like another kind of massive step.
Exactly. So their training that was amazing. Like, so his gym was really close to our hotel where we were staying. Mm-hmm. And so the gym was called Titan, right? And so it was just cool. So we went there, and Sergey had his buddies, and that trained, and we were trying to fit our handles in the okno, malenki okno, or this very small handle window, like the window of the kettlebell, right? Uh-huh. So that's the window, and these bells that we saw there, Cheburashka, right there, more like kind of like RKC style bells, but very small.
Mm-hmm.
No, I apologize. They were sport bells, but the handle, especially Buckley with his huge paws, right? Like we had trouble.
I can imagine, poor
with,
guy.
with the insertion, bro. Like it was just so hard that we were just not good at it, and it was like on the back of our hands, so it was really painful and awkward. So rude enough. Oh, by the way, I shattered my middle finger on the very first set of my training on the very first day. Shattered the
when you
bones.
were there?
Oh yeah.
Oh, seriously? I didn't know this.
So we were super tired, and they had the local news with all these cameras around us because we were Californians coming and this and that, and we were so tired, and
I bet
I was
after
out
that
of it.
fucking
And
trip.
Rudinoff had me doing a set of jerks with they were 34 kgs. Right,
Oh,
a small set of jerks, double 34s,
34.
and it was like
Your
I do a
first day of
jerk,
training
and then,
after traveling. Hold on,
Yeah.
after 10-hour flight, and then hold on, first 6-hour flight, then a 10-hour flight, then another 11.5
hour flight,
and then a night train or a day and night train.
Yeah,
He
33-hour
thought
train ride.
first day there would be good to do 34 kilos.
Yeah. Exactly. And by the way, it was also 2 hours, about 2 hours from.
Oh, and then you have to drive in the car too, right?
Where he picked us up at the Vauxhall, the train station in outside of Blago, back to he goes, my village, 2 hours by car. I'll never forget that. That's what Rudinoff said. And so it was another 2 hours there. He took us to a relatively tasty Chinese restaurant because literally you can see China. Like you can literally see China across the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so we got to our hotel and everything is, it's in Cyrillic and also in Chinese.
So they have a lot of Chinese workers there. And shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, on the border. And so anyway.
So your first day with the 34s. Your first day with the 34s.
First day, smash. So it was like, oh, dude, first day, and it was
did you kind of do the thing where you smash it, but you kind of like keep it in, like you don't want to let them know?
Oh, totally.
Or did you?
Totally.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Then,
so you
so
went hardcore.
After the set was over, it was a short set. Set it down, and I told Buckley, I was like, hey, bro, I was like, hey, bro, I think there's a problem. I was like, Chuhu, I think there's a problem. He goes, what do you mean there's a fucking problem? What are you talking about? I go, no, I think I don't know. I think I kind of destroyed my finger right now. He goes, what? And so I show him, and I was like, yeah, bro, it's already kind of like, I was like, look. So, I held it up, and then so the middle finger, like, it was just so fat already, and it was like really bad. And so I was trying to hide it from.
I'm crying over here.
I'm trying to hide it from Coach, right? Because I was supposed to compete with the 32s that trip in the competition. And so Buckley's like, dude, you got to show Coach, man. You got to show Rudinoff.
Oh, man.
He's your coach, bro. You got to tell him. I'm like, all right.
Jason is hardcore. The fucking first day smashes his finger. Try to keep it inside. I'm good.
So this is also, but then what I'm about to tell you now is also super gangster, like Russian like mentality. So I love it, right?
Let's hear it.
So this is Coach looking out for well-being of student, right? So love it. So I show him your finger, and he goes, Jason, no, Jason, no, Jason, competition, no, no 32 kilo. But 24 kilo, okay. And it was so great.
Oh, man.
Like, yeah,
it's like,
so
no,
great,
not 32.
Like,
Thinks like, no, it's not going to be any, but 24
like,
will do.
Yeah.
24 is all right.
Yeah.
Don't be a pussy now.
He's like, he goes, no, finger bad broke. So, no 32 kilo, no. But 24, okay. And so he didn't let me compete with the 32s because I had a broken finger, but 24s, okay, no problem.
Well, bless his soul.
But you know what though? With adrenaline and everything, bro, I actually set a PR. I got 71 reps. It was a PR for me with the 24s, long cycle. And
Wow.
we use the Cheburashka bells.
Yeah.
We use kind of the RKC style bells
Because your hands were
with
just too big.
with the fat handles because the window was larger, so we could insert our hands and do a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, bro, it was like, yeah, it was really a cool thing.
Man.
Man, and that was the day that we came up with something called Stage 5, where it's like the stages of training. There's Stage 4 is like kind of like the taper stage where you're getting ready for competition, so it's a little bit easier, and you start.
Is this
there's
something
more
you picked
kettle.
up from Rudnev? Like he has stage 1, stage 2?
Rudnev system, yeah. It's like
what are
more,
the stages? Could you go through them?
So it's been so long, so forgive me for not remembering correctly, but what I can tell you is the stages basically do this. So I don't remember the exact details of each stage, but the stages basically do this. So like stage 1 is more GPP and less kettle.
Mm-hmm.
Stage 4 is way more kettle, less GPP, but less intensity overall, because you're kind of starting to now trim down intensity to heal up and recover for competition. Stage 3 is the motherfucker. Stage 3 is the bitch. Because that was the one where it was like the most kettlebell volume and still GPP,
Some GPP.
but it was more kettlebell heavy, you know. So that's kind of how it went.
And so you guys came up with stage 5.
And GPP, general physical preparedness, is like just running, burpees, you know,
squats,
pull-ups, you know, squats,
abs,
exactly, yeah.
back
So
extension.
because some people they hear GPP, they're like, what is that?
General physical preparation.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you guys came up with stage 5.
So stage 5 is the phase, the party phase and celebratory phase after the competition ends, before you start stage 1 again. So most people just say, okay, we're gonna rest now. They just call it rest. No, stage 5.
No, we do stage 5.
Stage 5. Boom! Like we just, it was so dope. Yeah.
You know what, man? That reminds me. Is that you telling me that story? That Rudnev had a guy that you guys met over there, and he would not train whatsoever for
Chiboba.
For like months at a time, and then
Chiboba.
And he would get wasted, right? And he was like basically like a functioning alcoholic, and then he would get real serious about training, and then fucking
1 week
and do all right.
Yes, and do all right, bro.
Tell me about
so
this.
I mean, clearly the guy, like, you know, genetically, like, probably kind of stronger than the average bear, mostly super mentally tough. Okay, but they would make this joke, and like I still to this day have no idea what they're talking about, but Sergey Rudnev and this other Sergey, his workout partner, didn't even know if we drank a lot of samagon together. I don't know his last name, but anyway, so they both would tease on this guy, and he was like the best lifter of Khabarovsk, right?
Khabarovsk, which is another city.
Khabarovsk,
it's
like a different city. Yeah. So it's not far from Blago, but
it's up there.
But similar region, right? And so like Amur region or whatever. And so Chiboba, don't know his name. No, they just call him Chiboba, and we asked, we're like, finally after a while, why do you keep calling him Chiboba? And Rudnev was like, this means the fucking potato. And like, but I think it was like in Polish or Ukraine. I don't know. It was a very interesting thing. But they like mess with him and call him like their little brother. Okay. But he was the best lifter in all of Khabarovsk, right? So like, and they were like, ha, Brazil system. Ha, this guy, Brazil system.
It's like a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing, like
having
a Brazil
fun,
system.
he relaxed, he eating, he drinking. 1 week before, okay, training really hard. And results, good result. Okay, really. And so I'm like, oh, shit. Like, it was amazing, dude. Like, so
he would just
guy, he went to the shashlik with us also. The kind of this outdoor barbecue in the snow, and he ate with us and drank with us, and that was my introduction to blini. The blini, you know?
Yeah, blini.
It's like little pancakes with giant fish eggs inside.
Yeah, it's like little crepes. It's our version of,
Yeah.
Wow, man. And so eventually you guys made it back out of Russia, and you took the Siberian train there, right? The famous Trans-Siberian. 7 days, right? 7-day train.
No, ours was 33 hours up, because we only took portions of it to get to the airport.
You didn't go straight from there to Moscow. You just went up to
no, we flew back to Moscow. Yeah.
Okay,
so
okay.
We took the train. The train both times was like, the first one was like a day and a half or whatever, and then on the way back it was shorter.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like only maybe 8 hours or something, because it was a newer train.
Mm-hmm.
And it just functioned a lot better, and there was much less stopping. It was like a different route, route. Yeah. But yeah, made it back safely, man. And wow, it was just, what an amazing, that was the quest of my lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like it was. It's fucking great story.
Can't surpass that. It was just a quest.
And as far as your kettle quest, it was like it began with, Pavel stuff, then it kind of went to Steve Cotter, then maybe some Valeri involved in there, right? And more Steve stuff. And then you guys got to St. Petersburg, did the big seminar over there with all the guys. Mm-hmm. Then you met Rudnev. And so it seems like then the next step after that, and I think sort of the time that you and I met, was around the time when you guys invited Denis Vasiliev to come over here and do a workship. Is that correct?
That's when I met you. Yeah, and I believe that was 2014. Yeah, that's when I met you.
So between that and until you guys met Dennis, you guys just kind of worked on your own and lifted and kept improving and doing your thing and teaching workshop stuff.
Yeah, exactly. For pretty much, yeah. And it was great. I remember that workshop. That was cool, man. That workshop was awesome, and Dennis was amazing, still is amazing. I still call him my coach, even though I haven't been super active on the competition scene, recently, even before COVID, just been kind of busy trying to, do my own thing and push forward with regular business and so on and so forth. And Dennis was he's a great coach. Compassionate and fun, really good English. His English is so good now, and he was the one guy that really made an effort to improve the English. So now I have to step up my Russian as respect. But that weekend I met you, and
I remember it was like I think it was a 2-day course, right? Mm-hmm. And like you said, and Dennis was just, he seemed like, and he was just this like shredded motherfucker, and he was like doing all the lifts, and he was
2013. Sorry,
2013 is that the year?
13. That's when I met you, and that's when yeah.
And you guys were so good at explaining everything, and I just thought, I was like, this is like, for me, that was so I was like, whoa, I found the guys that I want to learn from.
I remember you. It was so cool, man.
It was a great little seminar, and then I think you and I lifted for probably a year after that. Because I lived here, you lived here, and then kind of came what I remember is my kind of like kettle quest or whatever, just a great time. Is that next year? I think was it next year that you guys organized the big one
when you were the translator for Sergey Mishin? That was 2014. Yeah, and
so Orange Kettlebell Club invited over Sergey Mishin, Sergey Rudnev, Rudnev, sorry, Merkulin, Rachinsky. Who else? Denisov, of course. Denisov was there.
Denisov.
Yeah. And so it was like sort of, and I remember showing up, and there was people from all over the world, and then all over the U.S.
Oh, Gant came.
Goncharov came. Yeah.
And
it was sort of like the superstars of Kettle World came, and yeah, man, that was that lasted a week, I think, right? Is how long we kind of
that was a week-long one. Yeah, it was a monster.
Yeah, and that was probably, I think, to this day, I don't think that kettlebell seminar or kettlebell event has been beaten. I mean, that was just.
No way!
That was the coolest thing. And
that was crazy.
everybody
It was
learned so
amazing.
much, and you know, even between the lifters, because I remember chatting with a lot of them, you know, and some of them have known each other, meeting each other like at events or like competitions and shit, but they didn't really train around each other, you know. And I remember like Denisov talking to Goncharov, and I remember, you know, and everybody was just sharing stuff, and yeah, it was just one of the coolest seminars I've ever been, as far as, you know, like kettle or even just fitness, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, yeah,
So it was a real good time.
dude. It was just such an amazing thing. Like Buckley and I were so happy about that event, and Vasiliev too, Denis Vasiliev, and we were just so geeked up about it. We worked our butts off, dude, and like it was just it was so awesome.
Yeah, it was an awesome event, and people from all over the world. I mean, I remember Paul. What's Paul's last name? From New Zealand.
Yeah, Paul. What's wrong with me?
Paul. PJ something.
Yeah, Paul. Yeah, Paul. What the hell's wrong with me?
Sorry, Paul, if you're watching.
I know, Paul. Forgive me.
We chat sometimes with him.
I nicknamed him Quadzilla, dude, because that time he competed at a meet in Ice Chamber. He got two Master of Sports up there, and then he came down and got two Master of Sports in our meet, and so it was 4 Masters of Sports in like basically 8 days or something. And I was like, I nicknamed him Quadzilla just because of that, and it was funny. He
was a bad motherfucker.
Dude, oh man, no, Paul's
It'll come
badass.
to us. It'll come to us.
It'll come, dude. Oh, I can't believe both of us are like.
And I think he kind of stole the show at that one, right? As far as all the lifters.
Yeah, bro,
really
he was badass. Yeah, he was badass.
He was a bad motherfucker. Yeah, man.
Badass.
So
yeah,
to this day, it's.
But JT Netterville hung fucking 54 reps with the 32s in long cycle, and Paul put up 52. But I mean, different weight classes, but still. Like,
Paul White, yeah,
duh.
Paul White.
Paul White. Yeah, so
that was easy.
yeah, Paul White. So he, man, but he smashed it, and Jonathan. God, what's wrong with me? Smashing myself over here. I know I've been up for so many hours.
It's all good.
Jonathan Howard. I think he got like. He was close behind. He got like 47 or 48 reps. It was very good. Good day for those guys. Really, really good.
And
Bill Ash.
Oh,
he
Bill
put
Ash.
Up like, he put up like 80 reps or something. Like,
yeah, he sort of Rachinski'd it out, right? He kind of collapsed on the stage. Had like shaky leg syndrome. And,
exactly.
Yeah, and just the overall enthusiasm. I mean, like I said, I think to this day, you know, if there was like a Hall of Fame of kettlebell events, I mean, that would be at the top of the list. That would be it.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
So
it was. It meant a lot. It was great.
Definitely one of the best. And and so since then you've been lifting obviously on your own, and you've been doing stuff. I mean, and I mean, I think if anybody's just getting into kettlebells, I mean, for sure, I can say like one thing is like, you know, to take away from you guys and from you, it's just like. Go out there and look around and, you know, get after it, because that's one thing you guys
get
do.
after it. Get your feet dirty, man.
Yeah.
You know,
is there any other advice you would think? I mean, what would you advise somebody who's just getting into kettlebell lifting or just wanting to mess around with the kettlebell? What do you think is important?
Yeah. So, listening to your body, the positions where we hold the kettlebells, called the rack position, before moving into another posture, whether it's a jerk or a press or whatever, you want to make sure that you find the most appropriate position for you, on your own body. Don't just look at a champion and say like, I need to hold it like that, or my technique should look like that because he does it this way. And
which we've all made that mistake, right? Because it's so easy to just look at somebody and be like,
it's very easy.
That's the right way.
Easy,
or even
like,
have a coach tell you like, this is the right way. And your coach. You know, I mean, a good coach, though, maybe that's another advice. Maybe I'm sort of taking words out of your mouth, but I know you're big on coaching. It's just
and that's fine.
Get a good coach, you know, find a coach. Or
correct.
Because a great coach will tell you, like, hey, let's find what works for you, right?
Yes, exactly. And then also, too, find manageable chunks, manageable challenges. Like give yourself things that you can achieve. Like, even if you don't want to train and you're like, oh, this is really hard, you go train and like, okay, I'm going to just make sure that I do just fun. I'm just going to do 2 minutes with the bells just to get warm and see how it feels. And usually that'll, once you get going, you're like, you know what? I can do maybe another minute. And you know what? Maybe, wow, I'm kind of getting some momentum here. I feel some confidence here in my training. And then who knows? And then you kind of end up in that scenario way back in 2007 with me standing in front of a tree looking at a clock with Steve Cotter telling me, just 1 more minute, bro. How about 1 more minute? Oh, maybe you can do 10, right? So listening to your body with the postures, learning correct techniques for how your hand is supposed to get inside the kettlebell so you don't hurt your arms, learning the appropriate technique for sure, how to swing correctly first, very important to learn how to protect your back when performing these movements.
Just getting the basics down,
and
too.
Getting the basics down and experimenting with what belt works well for you. If you even need a belt, maybe you can reach your hip bones while keeping your legs straight. Getting a coach and finding a training partner is also very important if you're able to. It's kind of tough sometimes to motivate yourself to lift, to train hard in a strength endurance sport like kettlebell sport, where you have to go for 10 minutes. And even in training, if it's only a 4-minute set or 2 4-minute sets, it can be really daunting. So like when you would be in my cave garage and we train together, it's cool. We push each other, and then you're more likely to do well when you have someone to also kick back some love and support in the same way, because they're going through that challenge as well. But I tell you one thing about working with the kettlebells, give it a shot, man. You know, get your hands dirty, get your feet dirty, because it's one of the very few training styles I can think of that will check you. It will give you a gut check, and it will challenge you to the breaking point mentally. And when you achieve these little things and you're able to go a little further from the last time, or do even one extra rep, man, what it does to your psyche and your self-confidence is crazy. It's very empowering. And that is what I love most about lifting kettles, is just the fact that it can empower you and those around you, bro. And it's just an amazing energy. It's hard to explain unless you taste it and feel it. Go through that suffering to get through to the joy that is completing something you didn't think you were able to do before.
That was beautiful, dude. It's a beautiful way to, I think you summed it up, and I think that's an awesome way to end it. And thanks for your time. And how can people reach out to you, and where can they find you? What are your links and stuff?
Absolutely. So you can reach out on Instagram. I'm at Dolby Style. So my last name, Dolby Style, one word. You can hit me up on YouTube. You can find me there under Jason Dolby. Also, Facebook is under Jason Dolby as well. And then if you would like to email, it'll be jason@dolbystylefitness.com.
Beautiful. And I'll link all those, so don't worry about the spelling and all that. And OKC, is the gym happening up there? Are they open right now? Are they?
We're still working it. So right now, it's kind of gotten real challenging again for California. So right now, I don't believe they have anything going on. But still keeping rent going. Still, kind of students are training kind of at home or outside. But yeah, the gym is still there. And then when things kind of settle down, vaccines come, this and that, whatever. The holidays dissipate, and then hopefully numbers will get back to the point where gyms can kind of really open up again. But yes, the gym is still there. We're still strong, but just kind of wading through this very interesting time, this pandemic, just like everyone else. But we're still there, brother. Beautiful. Oakland, California, baby. OKC. Boom.
Beautiful. And I'll link that up, man.
Yeah. And John Wild Buckley, you can reach out to him through, I believe it's I believe it is johnwild@gmail.com,
Yeah,
I believe.
we'll get him on there. I'll
you
get
can, but you can throw the links on there
orangekettlebellclub.com.
too.
It'll all be on there,
But
brother.
yeah, that's the founder.
Thank you
right
so
there.
much for your time. That's the founder, and you're the head coach, and it was awesome, man. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll definitely do it again. Whenever you're free to come on, we'll make it happen. So, till next time, brother.
Огромное спасибо.
Things you own end up owning you.